So if you were holding your shield at the end of the last stage, you'll have it out for this long cutscene, which is kind of funny. It will cost you a few frames. Seal asks if you want to save, and then there's a little more dialogue. Interesting thing here, you can actually buffer inputs out of this dialogue. So if you can hold dash and left, that's a pretty good idea while you're mashing. But if you've got the shield out like this, you won't be able to dash along the ground like that, so you should also buffer a jump in that circumstance. Most of the time you can't buffer inputs when you're talking to Seal here in the base. And get the elevator out of the way, and then we're going in here. We want to equip the cyber elf we got from the vultures in Find Shuttle. That's this one. Then select this fourth option on the list to go to the shrine. You want to dash into this cutscene so you hit it earlier, since you always end up in the exact same spot, regardless of where you trigger the cutscene. Then we've got to wait for these doors. You don't want to be dashing into the door as it opens, because that'll push you away from it. So you just kind of like stand there until it's open entirely, and then go through optimally. Now there's a bunch of these robot dogs. Whether or not they jump is affected both by the RNG and how you're moving. So you gotta get both right. For this one, make sure to jump off this little ledge. A short jump. That will get the dog to jump, and then you dash underneath it. Kill this vulture, dash off that ledge. Kill that vulture too, dash off this ledge, and this one. And then it's important not to jump too early here, or else that dog runs at you. You need to dash along that ledge for a little bit. Here, dash, then jump, and the dog will jump over you. Kill all 3 vultures. Oh, 3 out of 4. For this part, you've got 2 options. You can either go off this wall, or do a wall jump here. By my timing, they're both pretty much identical. I think it looks cooler to go off that wall. And then you've got to wait in various places throughout this section in order to actually get through. So wait for this one, dash under it, wait for that a little. And then for that, we just dash off the ledge and then fall straight down for a bit. No directional buttons pressed until you fall past the lightning. And then you move forward and hit the door. We want to kill the dog on the far side of this door, so the setup I use is to get to around here, like just before this silo in the background, do a full hop, and the dog will be jumping at you, and you can kill him with the jump slash plus the following spin, since they've got 6 health. You've got to get the timing of the attack right, or else you'll only hit with one or the other attack, but it's not too bad. Especially if you're jumping from around the same area each time. And then we go up, kill this vulture, and activate this platform. I like to kill that vulture with a charge attack, just since it's easier to hit. Some enemies will affect the RNG differently based on if you kill them with a regular or a charge attack. That vulture is not one of them. And start charging your shield as you jump into this cutscene. You don't need to charge it from far away though. You don't need to do any shield dashes. Just start holding it as you're jumping into this cutscene. I don't think you even technically need to do that, but it might make the timing a little easier. For these guys, we're going to use damage stacking again. That's why we want the shield charging. You also want to start charging your saber. So we just go over onto this platform and wait. We need to use a specific visual cue here so we know that we'll get damaged by the Pantheon Ace when we drop down, as opposed to landing on the spikes. So around right when his head is like going underneath that platform, I do a short jump up and to the left, and I throw my shield while I'm up here. Fall down, get damage boosted. As soon as I land, jump, charge attack. And extend the charge attack by holding down, just in case you need extra damage. And it should destroy them both instantaneously. And you want to grab the Cyber Elf as you go through. Then just get off the spikes before you die. It's a little dangerous, but it's not that bad, really, once you've practiced it. If you still don't have charge attacks at this point, you can do the same strategy just with a regular extended jump slash. So jump up, throw the shield, and then extended jump slash. You want to be relatively high up like this so that the shield doesn't reach you right away and you can get more damage in. It's important to grab that Cyber Elf right away for the RNG manipulation. And we're going to start charging as we get to this door, because we'll need some more. If after the Pantheon Aces you still don't have charge attacks, then you're kind of frigged. I mean, you can get through the stage without like any serious problems, but you're not going to be able to maintain my RNG manipulation, which is kind of a problem in this stage. Both of the upcoming bosses rely on it pretty heavily. Platforming in this coming section's kind of tricky, and it's important to get it right because these guys also affect RNG if they're on screen for too long, since they randomly decide between two attacks. So we're charging, go over here, and then about 3/4 of the way up this slope we're going to do a full hop. You can even be like pretty much at the top, but if you go too far forward you're going to catch that ledge. That guy should drop large health if you've got the RNG right so far. And that guy should drop small health, which you'll pick up as you go through it. So it's like right as the section levels off here, full hop from there will get you onto this ledge. Then again, from the level section, you can just make it up to here, no problem. Could have jumped from further back and would have been fine. Sword Dancer's pretty tricky. What we want to do is jump over him at the start, and then just turn and start swinging. Once we get him to 8, kill him with a shield, because he's weak to lightning. If you jump too early, you'll hit your head. Not a problem, just move forward a bit and proceed as usual. If you jump too late, you'll get hit by a sword. Again, not a huge deal. Make sure you're not standing like really close to him when you end the fight, or else you'll end up messing up the RNG later. Like, that's bad. Don't do that. You want to go out here. Jumping over him's a 2-frame window, so I expect to have to practice it a bit. You'll see the RNG going crazy, but it'll stabilize on the same value every time. Once we've gotten out of range of that cyber elf, at least. It should be at 1201. If you don't still have your RNG manipulation when you get here, he can be a huge pain. So let's look at some of the stuff he can do. If he does this, you can hit him out of it, but only if you're really close to him. And you can just kind of like chase him around and continue to hit him. That's one strategy. Another strat is to let him jump away, because a lot of times after that he starts throwing his swords, and then you could do the regular strat. You obviously don't want him up against the wall like that though. So he spins again, hit him, stay away. Okay, then you can get over here. Time loss from not having RNG on Sword Dancer can be pretty catastrophic. He also does huge amounts of damage, so look at that. What was that, 5? Frig. So you can easily die here if you've not got the manipulation and you're not really confident in your fighting. This section's a little bit tricky and very critical to get right. So here's the first trick, getting over this turtle. You want to land pretty far to the left on this slope and then jump up with a slash. Reflect the bullet from that guy with your shield and take a damage boost on this turtle and on that purple guy. Then we jump off this ledge, and somewhere around here you want to pause and activate that cyber elf. The timing on when you do that is important, but it's not difficult. Like, you've got a long window from a little bit before this and a substantial amount after that you can do the pause. You also want to equip the fire chip while you're at it. If you mess anything up in here, you're going to miss a cycle on these disappearing blocks, so careful on that. You'll also probably end up messing up the RNG while you're at it. Got some flying to do with this elf. We just want to go directly up and to the left. No need to do anything fancy, just hold those two directions. And then manually cancel it by pressing the jump button when you get over this edge. And the RNG should stabilize on 2597. If you mess something up in the lower section and went slow, then this block won't be available. Well, it might be, but if you try and go over it, it will disappear on you and you'll fall down. So that's why it's so important to get that section right. Here's the safe strat. Just wait for that second block. It's not difficult at the time, just like a bit after that shot is done being fired. Jump straight up. Now the risky strat is to go like this, which saves on the order of 1 second. The time loss from messing it up is catastrophic though, because if you fall over here, then you're frigged. You're losing like 20 seconds or something. If you do go for it, you need to go towards the center of the ledge, and then dash to the right, and then jump. Do not try and land on the edge, and then go from there, because you'll never make it. Your hitbox gets widened while dashing, which means you can jump from further off the edge than you would be able to otherwise. And that's the only way it's possible to even make it up there. At least within human reason. Only go for this if you're very confident in the consistency. Because like I said, the time loss is horrific. For this door to the boss, don't dash into it. Jump or walk in. Fight's a little bit tricky. First thing we're going to do is dash up and hit him. You don't need to hold any directional buttons, just do a dash and then at or near the end of it, one attack. That'll push him back, and then to get in range again, we'll do a very tiny dash forward and start attacking him. Then once he goes past us, we just turn around and hit him on the other side. You want to walk forward a little bit when you start doing that, so he'll still be in range. And you can just end the fight before he gets past you again. Every now and then he'll do some wacky stuff, even if you've got the right RNG. Especially if you mess something up. Like, he'll just go up like that. If that happens, just wait for him to come down and then start hitting him. There aren't really any crazy strats to use when you don't have him doing what you want. You just wait for him to be available and get as many hits in as you can. Again, pretty major time losses if you don't get the fight perfect here. So, you can lose a lot of time overall on this stage from small mistakes, but it's not overly difficult. You have to get that cyber elf before you can go through the door. Some text as you're going over that door, and a little more before you reach this one. .112 is my best time on here. You'd have to go for the risky strat of jumping off the disappearing block in order to get that. 113 is probably barely possible without it.